Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I primarily want to speak about something that has gotten a lot of attention with the current election. It was the discovery that is this infrastructure whereby the voting systems allow its citizens to be counted as if we're counting money. And a lot of the questions that are being asked are, is it possible that some type of algorithm can run and redistribute voting totals? And the short answer to that is yes, but the long answer is a little bit more nuanced. However, blackboxvoting.org, we wrote about this in 2016. It was a study, it's a 6-part study that we did. It was called Fraction Magic. And basically, it's the removal of one person, one vote. And it's a feature, it's not a bug. It's a type of race that's embedded within the election equipment, within the election equipment that allows for weighted elections. And that weighted election is best described as if I own 6.92 acres of land and you own 3.27 acres of land, then my vote of 6.92 should count more than yours. And when that is running, it is troubling if you don't know it, because you can literally weight races based on who you want to win. And that was a subject of a study that I did recently. I became intrigued when Michigan admitted that they had about 6,000 votes that were counted for Biden, that they were supposed to have been counted for Trump. And I think at the end of the totals, they found out that Trump won that county by 2,500 votes versus losing it by 6,000. And then we commissioned a study to see if we could chase that algorithm and see if it had a signature. And we are doing pattern analysis, and we found out some very interesting things in Michigan. We looked at the 4 most populous counties, and what you expect to see is like a parabola. And what we saw was a diagonal slope, which was very interesting. It doesn't mean that we found the presence of the algorithm, but it does suggest that you need to look further. And I think in Antrim County, where a random person saw that the totals didn't look right because it was like a completely Republican dominated county that voted Democrat, which doesn't make sense to a local. And the only way that they could get the true total was to go and look at the hand counted. They had to hand count it and get back to the totals. So it's something that is very relevant now. There are some people talking about it, and I don't think they have a full understanding or appreciation of it. So you have to be somewhat wary of some of the people who are alleging that they found this somehow. I think some people are using the New York Times data. That's a futile exercise. I wouldn't do that. There's some technical reasons why. However, that series Fraction Magic, if you go to blackboxvoting.org and search Fraction Magic, there's going to be a video in a 6-part series that will really educate the public. We do have to police the republic. We shouldn't leave this up to hardware and software to count elections. I'm a hand-marked paper ballot, probably counted in public on camera. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me just ask one very quick question before we move to our next speaker. You had said that you had done research showing, this use of fractional voting, and you cautioned against the New York Times data. If it's possible to explain in a way that you think our audience could understand, could you briefly say what the problem is, or what some of the poor analyses you've seen that use that data?
Right. It's improper to try to back your way into a number. These methods of fractional counting are powerful financial allocation methods. And for instance, the New York Times data is only giving a percentage, and they are basically showing 53.4% of a total. And if you try to multiply 53.4% to a million, you don't have the decimal precision. If you just go by a gas station, you're going to see 3 decimal places, even though the penny ends at the 2nd decimal place. And there's a reason for that. So if you only have 1 decimal place, then when you multiply that times a whole number, you don't have the precision that's required to get back to a whole number. While it may still be a fraction of a number, the New York Times its output isn't giving you enough detail to get back to an original number.